Good evening. Good afternoon, rather. How my Exhale Breathe family doing today? I don't have the song for today. Um, I'm still working some things out, so please bear with me. Please bear with me. So, small recap from last week. Of course, we were just talking about when my first husband got really ill and me being there as his wife, the mother of his children, um, taking care of him, looking out for him, and how even in that it wasn't enough for him to do me right or treat me right or respect me or love me properly. The abuse continued, the disrespect continued, the trauma continued, right? Okay. And so the last thing I talked about is having to forgive people, including him, at that particular time. I had to forgive this young lady that had started bothering me, um, and how that transpired, and did it really make a difference? Well, maybe for her, because again, I didn't hear nothing from her anymore. But the foolishness continued, of course. Um, like I said, I have a lot with that first marriage because I was married to him. We ended up getting married like right after my well, not right after my son was less than a year old when we got married. And um, you know, people will make you think you're special. They will have you thinking that you're special. Oh, I chose you to marry. And not only will the person, the abuser and the manipulator have you thinking you're something special, the people that's around them, their families and friends will buy into it too. And that's what happened. We end up having this wedding that, yes, every girl, every woman wants her special day to be special in the way that she wants it. And excuse me, it was really his wedding. And hey, the things that I learned from that is, yeah, yeah, I learned a lot from that first marriage, a lot. And but we got married, and it was for show, more so than for love on his part. And um we did that again. We went on, we had two honeymoons. Let me We had two honeymoons. The first one, we went to Las Vegas. Okay. And I'm just legal to be in Las Vegas for real, like to really do things and drink if I wanted to and go to clubs if I wanted to, like literally legal, right? And we get to Vegas, we stay at the MGM, and We get there and everything starts nice and cool, right? And then I go to the bathroom and realize I started my cycle. Oh my God. I did not know that that was going to start a whole mess. This man was livid. Like literally like I had control of that. He poured um those really long drinks that Vegas are known for, the big long thin cups. I had one of those, and he literally threw it on me. He was that mad. We went with one of his sisters and one of his brothers and their spouses at the time. And yeah, he threw that drink on me. He messed up my hair. He messed up my clothes. It was so embarrassing, and it was cool in Vegas. So I was cold. I just wanted to go to the room, and we argued and everything. It just turned out not to be a good experience. And again, like I said before, he was that person. Oh, he ate the food. Now he got to try to make it up. And we found a beauty shop in Vegas hood, to get my hair redone. And we met Mike Tyson at that time, during that time. And it was cool, it was something different. Um, Found a soul food spot to try. It was cool. But for me, I was just there at that point, trying to get back into enjoying it and trying, but I just couldn't because he was still being mean, you know, and ugly, especially when we were alone, you know, and it didn't turn out all that great. And then we went back home. I think we was in Vegas for about 3 or 4 days. And then maybe like 2 weeks later, maybe three, we went on a cruise with the same two couples. Yeah. Um, and everything was going fine with that. But he just can't control himself. He couldn't control his attitude, and he think he, controls everybody and can say and do whatever he wants to do. And him and his sister end up having arguments behind her and her man stuff. They really didn't even have nothing to do with him. But it got physical, and I ended up with a black eye on the ship. And that was a 5-day cruise. And that was like day two. Like we had just got there, and I ended up with a black guy. It like being embarrassed, being abused in front of people is something that just devastates you. It takes away so much from you because it's like, wow, why, how do you love me? You and again, for me personally, abuse was love. It was normal in a way of abuse, but it didn't feel good. And I felt like it wasn't right, but how did I know it wasn't really right? Just because I felt like it wasn't right, right? And of course, he tried to make it up, and it just was nothing was the same. I was ready to get off that ship. I was like, it's time to go home, but of course, you gotta wait. And excuse me, um, time just time with that marriage was very toxic, abusive, hard. Um, I guess I really never had real true self-esteem and valued and you know all those things within myself because didn't know what it looked like, didn't know how to even establish those things. And so when you don't know that, when you don't have self-esteem and you don't have um boundaries because you don't know what those things are, it's even easier for someone to make it worse. And that's what he did. He made it worse. And time went on, going through life as normal, still fighting, still dealing with the cheating and all those things. And then um we moved in his house down the street from his most of his family at the time all lived up the road. And my little brother and his oldest son moved in with us, and they lived with us for a while. And he would take the boys with him to be with other women, to just the things you wouldn't do to children, you know but he would do it. He would allow them to see him disrespecting me and him hurting me and treating me bad. And it was bad. And I remember one day, I found out that he was taking my brother, because it's his son, he can do what he want to do with his son, honestly, because it was his son from with someone else. And so, I was just like, wow. But when he did took my brother with him and I found out, I was so mad and angry about it, because I'm like, my brother ain't even saying nothing. He just going along with it. Well, then I found out later that he threatened them and told them that they better not say nothing or he was gonna beat them. And they was young, they was kids. So of course, and they seen him how he treated me. So they knew that it was possible. And but I would so I would stand up for the kids. Like I probably wouldn't stand up for myself, but I would stand up for the kids. And I used to, because he used to abuse his son too. Me and his oldest son got the blunt of his abuse. Um, really, for real. And it was like I tried to protect the kid, but his mama wasn't listening. And like I said, he's my ex-husband was the type of person that once he do something to you, he knew it was wrong, then now he wants to buy you and do everything for you. And he had us all wrapped into his web. So I end up finding out that he was having an affair with one of his cousin's wife. Mind you, we had been in these people's houses. We had been, um, spending time with these people, and he was having an affair with this man's wife, which was his cousin. And I don't even remember how I found out, but it was crazy. And of course, I confronted him. I don't even know if the cousin ever found out, but I think he ended up passing away. I think he was sickly. And I think he ended up passing away. And so I don't know if he ever found out about it. But they got real bold with it, like to the point where he started inviting her into our house before I found out that they that's how I found out. That's how I found out. He invited her over to our house one day. We was having a gathering, and she came, and I was just watching their interaction, and someone whispered and said, ain't they too friendly to you? And I was like, yeah, but that's his cousin wife. You know how we do. We overlook certain things. And then she was a OCD person, right? So she started talking. We were all talking, and then she started telling me how how I need to clean my house. And I'm like, girl, like I ain't asked you that. But again, we got to keep in mind these people are all older than me, and they felt comfortable and thought that they can say what they wanted to say and act how they wanted to act because in their eyes I'm a kid, even though I'm in a relationship with this man, right? So I went outside, and someone's told me that they was messing around when I went outside, and I came back in and I put everybody out. And I confronted him. And of course, because he's cocky, disrespectful, he admitted it. Yeah, she's a better woman. She's this, she's that. Um, of course, hurtful. And then it was so disrespectful that you would bring her into our home knowing that. And it was just bad. I called a couple of days later. I called my grandmother to come over there because he just wouldn't leave me alone. And she brought two of my cousins, a girl and a boy. And this guy shot out the door. Oh my God. Like, that's why I never really wanted to involve my family because I just never knew the extent that he would go because he was silly. He was real silly, man. Like it was something I've never seen or encountered before. And he literally had me bound to him for a long time, y'all. And of course, like I told y'all, my grandmother, she came with hers too. And she, okay, this is what we want to do. And I just asked them to leave because I didn't want I really didn't want my family hurt on account of me. And I after that, I mean, a few more days later, we have a fight, physical fight. And at this point, I'm like literally fed up and tired. So now I'm like, okay, we're gonna fight then. This is what you want? We're gonna fight. And I remember him putting me in a headlock and just holding me. And I got a real bad mouth, especially when I'm angry and hurt. And when he let me go, I gave him a few choice words, but a few choice licks came behind it. And I remember him looking at me after I hit him. And he was like, "Oh, bitch. Like, that's 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 where we're at." And I'm like, "Yeah, let's get it. What you want to do?" Because my licks hurt too. So you ready? But he wasn't ready. He went somewhere and sat down for the rest of the day. And I started gaining strength back. Because I'm like, okay, my legs hurt just like his hurt. My words hurt just like his words hurt. So if he wants to keep on doing this to me, then I'm going to give it back to him. I'm not saying that that is okay. Please don't take that wrong. I'm not saying that it was okay. I'm not saying that it was the right thing. I'm not. But what I am saying, abusers need to understand that they can be touched. They need to understand that someone will handle them, even if it's not the person that they abuse. It can be done to them. And like I said, it really didn't change a lot. I mean, the fighting stopped, died down a lot because now he realized that somebody gonna be fighting him back. And I kind of skipped over a lot of things, not purposely, um, as I tell my stories. Some things, because it's been so long, um, are buried, pushed down. Um, so I'm gonna go back a little bit. Right before my son was born, I had my second daughter. My second daughter came. He was in the hospital, and I was in the hospital because he had got shot, and so he couldn't even be there with me because he was in the hospital with bullet holes. And then, yeah, and my son was born on Christmas, and he couldn't be there for that either because he had to take care of the other kids because, again, my those two children are like Chinese twins. They are 10 months apart. So my daughter was born in January of that year, and my son was born in December of that year. And so it was a lot going on around that time. All this stuff was going on around that time. I had a toddler. I was pregnant. Like I literally got pregnant right after I had my daughter. And so it was yeah. So but all of this happened pretty much around the same time. Um then as time went on, when he got shot. I forgot where he got shot at. I don't know if it was a restaurant or apartments, but anyway, he ended up with a settlement, and he bought us a house. And he bought this house, paid cash for it, and as soon as he bought the house, he wanted to start renovating it. And he hired these people to, start renovations on it. It was going to be a gorgeous, matter of fact, it is a gorgeous house because I end up selling it to a Hispanic family. And of course, y'all know how they do, baby. They don't play no games. They finished that boy and they allowed me to come see it. And it was gorgeous. Okay. It was really nice. I really liked it. But so he hired these people to, you know, upgrade it. And they didn't complete it because he didn't want to listen. It's something about men that really don't want to listen to their wives and women that's in their life. I think they don't understand that God created us to help them. If they would really understand that God says we're their helpmate, we there to help them when they don't know. And it's sad that they won't listen because of their ego, their pride. They the one making the money. They the one that's taking care of everything. Uh, we could have saved some money. We could have saved some money. We could have saved some time if you would have just listened. But he wouldn't. And guess what? The house never got finished. Everybody ran off. They got that first installment payment and they didn't return. The house ended up a mess. And then in that process, he ended up getting pulled over. Get in trouble. Go to court. The judge sentenced him to 110 months in federal prison. Keep in mind, keep in mind, I have 3 children, all under 5. Matter of fact, 3, 1, and some months. Yeah. And he had to turn himself in. The judge allowed him to try to get some things in order before he left, and he really did. He didn't get shit in order. Excuse my language. He left me with a house that was falling apart, literally. I was a stay-at-home mom. He provided, and but so I had to find a job so that I can pay our bills. And I remember getting an interview at Wendy's. And he went to the interview with me, but we went to the interview, and at that time, they was I was making $6.30 an hour to take her 3 kids. Yeah, yeah. But I got the job. I got the job. But excuse me. But I didn't have a car. We wasn't on the bus line. He had got rid of all the cars and different things. So I didn't have a car. So I didn't really have a way back and forth to work. Again, I had started back trying to rebuild my relationship so that I can have some help with my children in order to go to work. But of course, his family helped out for a few months after he ended up going to prison. Um, but I end up going to one of them Tocha Note places to get me a car, not knowing a lot. I didn't. And when I went to this Tocha Note place, got a car, and I had to pay a car note every 2 weeks. They came and repoed the car after like 2 months. One of his sisters needed somewhere to park her extra car she had, and I asked her, if I could use the car to get back and forth to work, and she was like, "Sure, that's fine. I mean, it's parked there, so why not?" So that helped me out for the time being until she wanted the car back or whatever, and I ended up getting another car eventually, but it became real rough. And then Katrina happened, and people was telling me, try to get on with FEMA, and I did, and they hired me. That was like a 3-month job, but it paid really, really good. So I worked for FEMA and Wendy's, and at the same time, so it kind of helped a little bit, me to feel my way through. And but once FEMA closed, oh my God, that was devastating because the money was really good. The money was really good. And but then I applied for Walmart, and I end up getting on with Walmart. And so now I have better income coming in. So now I can afford a car note, and now I can make sure my kids are okay, right? And that's what I did. But I was so behind on things. Like, he left us in a really bad situation. He didn't leave any money for me. He didn't try to make sure that I was okay or anything before he left. He really didn't. And the family started, kind of tripping on keeping the kids. And so I started asking my mom. So I would have to drive from Seagoville, well, not really Seagoville, but close to Seagoville, to South Dallas, to Garland every day. That was my route, back and forth, um, to get my kids over there so that my mama can take care of them and things like that. And he ended up having to go turn himself in 3 days before my second daughter's second birthday, before she turned 2, 3 days before. And of course, I'm his wife. I did what I needed to do. We traveled. They sent him to Kentucky first, and we I would rent cars, and we would drive all the way. Me and them three did go, and it was, yeah, it was a trying time, but I was so far behind to, like, I had been losing, like, my lights got cut off, my gas got cut off. Then I was able to get it done. And then the hot water heater bust and flooded the whole house. And I was just lost. But let me tell y'all something about God. God always, when people say God have a ram in the bush, he have shown me time and time again what that ram looked like. And this particular couple, they're my godparents now. Which, oddly enough, they are his cousins as well. reached out to me one day because we met at a family reunion and they loved me. And they reached out to me just to say hi. And they had moved here for a little while. They moved to Frisco, and they reached out to let me know they was in time. They moved into Frisco and checking on me and stuff. And I kind of talked to them, and um, something about discernment. Discernment is real. Discernment is real. Um, the wife, she said, "What's wrong, babe?" And I was like, "Nothing. I'm good." She said, "No. Mm-mm. Where do you live?" I told her, and she was like, "Is it okay for us to come see y'all?" And I'm like, I'm hesitant, but the spirit said, "Say yes," and I said yes. They came and they seen what I was going through. Like I said, the hot water heater had bust. At this time, I didn't have no lights. Um, I was just trying to survive. I was a medical assistant, but I couldn't renew my medical assistant certification, so it was harder to get a job in that area. And they came maybe like 2 days later. They came to see us, and she was just like, "Oh my God, what do you need? What do you need?" And I was like, "Nothing. I'm gonna figure it out." And she said, "No, what do you need?" And God allowed me to tell her I needed my lights on. I needed my certification renewed so that I can get a better job. Um, and she paid for all that. She paid for it. See, people don't understand that God will show up and show out. One thing I do know, because a lot of people want to, two spiritual people want to make you believe that God just do stuff. Well, he does, but he definitely uses people, places, and things in his word to reveal himself, to help. These people came and showed out for me out of almost like out of nowhere, where no one else was helping me, where no one else trying to help me in this situation. God said, "Okay, don't worry about it. I send some people that don't really know you, but love you anyways." And that's what he did. And my life started to change at that moment. I was able to renew my certification. I ended up getting, well, after I got the certification, I was still having trouble finding a medical assistant job. And I was working at Walmart. And like I said, my commute was long and tedious every day. And I worked overnight. And so um, one day I fell asleep. My mama was keeping my children, and I was supposed to take her somewhere. And I went when I took my kids to school. I went to sleep, and I was sleep, so sleep. I ain't heard no phone calls or anything. The police had been knocking on my door for like 10 minutes, and I never heard them. He hit my door one time and made me, startled me. I jumped so hard, got up, and he was getting ready to kick it in. My kids was at school. I didn't pick them up. The good thing about that, they went to school across the street from their other grandmother. So they went over there, but I scared everybody because I was so tired. I was exhausted. And I knew I needed to do something different then. Then things just seemed like it wasn't getting better. I ended up getting fired because I got sick at work and had to go to the hospital, and they fired me when I went back the next day. Well, God fixed that too, because I was able to get my unemployment and things like that to, keep my bills up until I can find a job. And in the course of this time, we was dry. We was going to Kentucky to visit him, and I know the first time we went, he was in solitary confinement. Like, why would you be in trouble knowing that we're on our way up here? It was a 14-hour drive, and it was me and my kids coming to see you by ourselves. We already didn't have much, and you gonna get in trouble. So they made exceptions because of the kids primarily, for us to visit. And then he ended up getting sick down there. Of course, it wasn't really much I can do, but they kept him alive, um, down there. And then I started doing my wifely duties, as people would say. It was too far. So I started writing the warden and different people with the state to try to get him moved closer to home so that we wouldn't have to try to go so far because it was taxing on me. And yeah, I fought, and fought. I fought so hard that I actually got him moved to Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah, I talked to the Senate and everybody. I was writing them letters. I was on them phones. I was trying to get that brother close. And I did. And they finally transferred him to Fort Worth. And that's where I'm going to leave. I'm going to stop. And we'll pick it up from there next Saturday. I'm hoping and praying that I know it's a lot of information. I know that it is a lot, but I got to tell it because somebody in between these videos, in between the stories, you may not can identify with one piece, but you may be able to identify with another piece. And the only way to help people is to give them the whole stroll. You know what I mean? You give them all of it. And then you get to see what parts help who and what. And so, with that, again, forgiveness is key. Forgiveness is powerful. Forgiveness is imperative to the growth and healing journey that we're on. Remember to invite somebody to join our live. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments, because that'll help me. That'll help me know that God has not forgot about us, the broken. Matter of fact, I think he loves us a little bit more. But he haven't forgotten about us. He wants us to be better. And we are able to be better. So again, like, share, subscribe, invite people in, leave your comments. And I'll be back with you on next week. Um, It's so much to delve into. It's so much to uncover. It's so much to deal with. So just remember, this is a task for me. It's It's not very easy, but it's what I have to do in order to heal properly. And so I'm grateful for that, and I'm on the front line. I'm on the front line of this thing, and I just want to be able to really help someone um get better and know that you are worthy. Um so have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. I'm about to go hang with my children. We're about to go skating. And so I hope that y'all have a wonderful rest of y'all Saturday and beautiful Sunday. Um, Talk to y'all soon. Exhale, breathe, family. I love you all. Like, share, and subscribe and comment. Bye bye for now. Don't do that no more.